Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Train Man, and welcome back to another episode of TRS. Today we're gonna be wrapping up this mountain here. And once again, this is post-commentary, so this is the second post-commentary episode of TRS 2006. 21 minutes-ish. And, there will be no game audio. Of course, there isn't much game audio to begin with. Anyways, there's the occasional actual sound effect, or the badly misplaced sound effect, or there's me getting bleep-blooped on Steam or Skype. Or getting a phone call or text message or something, but aside from that... Oh wait, that isn't even game audio, that stuff. But there won't be any other audio unless someone does do one of those things now. What I was trying to segue to was just a little bit, which was that when I do this now, just to keep myself sane while I'm building these and not sit in complete silence and work, is listening to podcasts. I listened to Car Talk while I was doing this. Of course, I didn't get through the whole thing because its video's only 20 minutes, because that's about all the time I have. There are 2 graduation parties today, and I would have liked to get it done ahead of time. That's me just adjusting the time so I can get a better view of the thing without the sun poking through the mountain. There we go. Now what was I saying? I don't know, I was saying something. But, yeah, listening to Car Talk, just to occupy my time, really, because sitting here and doing this is, without talking, in the meantime, is kind of monotonous. And, yeah. But yeah, no, we finished this entire stretch, and I realized there's a little bit where I should probably fill in to make it look sensible, I suppose. Oh, and that's around the corner. We'll get to it at the end of the episode. But I just need to at least fill it in so it looks good from the little logging camp. I didn't realize that I didn't cover all my bases there. Actually, I'm just gonna make it so that the render distance is fine. Not sure what to do in a lot of these cases. I like to build the terrain to the edge of the map, but sometimes it's just not practical, considering. And of course, there's a lot of track here, and this is supposed to be a very track-heavy layout, I suppose. It's just supposed to be a giant net. I hate to say that I'm not caring too much about what the terrain and the scenery looks like, because I do care, but it's not quite so important in my head, I guess. Just want to be able to drive the trains around. I'm not going for a beautiful route. If you want a beautiful route, go look up Weibolds. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing anyways. As I said last episode, I'm just waiting for the time when I can get to the fields where the training will be so much easier, because there won't be too many mountains to contend with. There are a couple of big ones. There's like a lonely mountain kind of thing. It's called Farmer's Peak. But other than that, there really isn't too much out there that's really big and important. So we're going to be heavily using this gray rock basically from here on out, because it's really good and it blends well with a lot of things. I go back to using that really, really dark stuff right there in the corner of the screen for not cuts, but just bits where stuff has been cut away, but not necessarily man-made cuts. Like, I use it for the riverbank. Speaking of which, we do get to the river over there this episode and terrain the bottom of it and one side of it. So, it's good. You guys will see. But, in other news, I recorded my vocals for the first chapter of Zombie Train. I just haven't had time to do most of the other ones. But other than that, I'm trying to get some people in here to do their lines, talking to a bunch of people who are in it and trying to organize stuff. But I feel like summer's here and now things are busier than ever, even without school. So I start adding these sporadic little patches of that lighter stone, just to break up the monotony of the gray mountainside, which I think is a good thing. It turns out alright. I mean, I didn't really take a step back and look at the whole thing at the end of the video, but I mean, it looked alright to me when I was building it. But then again, there were a few things that looked alright to me when I was building them that ended up coming out pretty terrible. And, yeah, well, we're gonna have to deal with that, because I'm not gonna go back and retexture the darn thing. There's enough that I have to do to polish that off. Also, give me a second here, and I'm gonna go look up the comments on last week's video, so that I can get an idea of what you guys want to see for this next upcoming bit. I'm gonna count up the votes as they are right now. Of course, you can keep elaborating, keep talking in the comments of this video. I most certainly encourage discussions. Oh, we almost got the I'm the mayor of whatever USA commercial blasting in the background. But so we have 3 comments here. Tamaros Arturo, Caps Junction, Demotico. Okay, yeah, no, I still need to scan this map and put it up somewhere. I'm really not sure how I can do that, because it's not normal-sized paper, and I don't have a giant scanner. I don't actually have a working scanner right now anyways. I'd have to find someone with one. Tamaros to Portal, Schlick. I finally understand why your name on YouTube is that, but I still can't pronounce it. There are so many people whose Minecraft names and even actual names I've just perpetually mispronounced to the point where that is their name in my head. For example, Wybold isn't Wybold, it's Weebold. Yet, I've called him Wybold since the beginning, and I'm not going to stop now. Want to see some standard gauge stuff. Alright, well that's pretty cool. Tamaros to Arturo. So there are 2 Tamaros to Arturo. Tamaros to Portal, Caps Junction, Demotico. So currently we'd be doing Tamaros to Arturo, which I'd be decently happy with. I don't feel like getting the map out again, but that's... I'm going to be just working through a valley the whole time. I might throw in some nice little terrain elements there. Maybe a gorge of some kind. Hold on. Now I am getting the map. I was just seeing if it actually does run along a gorge at any point. I think when we go from Arturo to Meest, it runs along a gorge at some point. I may actually change the trackage so that the trackage there runs parallel to the narrow gauge the whole time. Although I'm not sure why that'd be prudent, because the narrow gauge could handle tougher grades, and that's why the standard gauge goes way out of the way. It's something that I shouldn't plan too far ahead. Now, on the other hand, or back to what I was saying, rather. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't. Oh well. But yeah, so we only have 1 vote for the narrow gauge as of yet, which is... People were clamoring over the narrow gauge before I sat down to build this, which I guess it turned it turned people away how terribly monotonous it became. Yeah, again with the names. Ugh. Block. Whatever. But I do appreciate you guys' interaction in the comments. I always love stuff like that, and trust me, I see every single one. Doesn't mean I pay too much attention to them, but... No, I'm kidding. I actually get an email every time a comment is posted, so I'm kind of forced to see it, no matter what, and of course I hate the little lit up bell at the corner of my YouTube screen, so I have to go and look at the comments and reply to them almost all the time. Well, basically all the time, just sometimes not immediately. Sometimes I'll see it and go, yeah, I'll get to that. And I do get to it, because I don't let the stuff stay there for a while unless something bugs out and I never see it again, but aside from that, it's really something that I try to crack down on, because I like answering comments. I do love the comments on the videos. It gets kind of lonely when it's just me talking. Speaking of just me talking, I just had an idea. Although I wouldn't be particularly practical, because I'd have to have somebody here, but if I had somebody sitting next to me, I could be explaining exactly what I'm doing in the post-commentary, and I think it'd be kind of interesting to do that. I don't know. Alright, so along to the right there, yeah, I'm just getting to it now. There are some very craggy bits at that corner that I'm gonna deal with and make look nice. At this point, I was listening to someone talk about taking their, or buying a Jeep to take to Africa because they were moving to Africa for business, and that was part of Car Talk. If you guys don't listen to Car Talk, it's NPR, National Public Radio. It's also a podcast program of these two guys called Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers. They're actually Tom and Ray, but they were mechanics for many years, and they run a radio show where people call in with questions about their cars, and they try and answer them on the spot. And it's full of, like, self-deprecating humor and stuff like that. It's really, really funny. And some of the problems that people come up with are just hilarious in and of themselves. The answers are funny. They have puzzlers, weekly puzzlers, stuff that's tough to figure out. I don't think I've ever done one of the puzzlers successfully, so, yeah. And they have little songs in between the three halves of the show. 3 halves. Halves. Oh, little loading bug there, loading glitch, loading spike. See you around right over there at the other side of the mountain. I think it'll be in just a little while that I realize that, hey, wait a minute, I can see that from the tracks. And I'm going to need to fix that in one of two ways. A, move the tracks, or B, put some land down, which is probably going to be B, even though I really don't feel like it at this point. I just don't want people seeing the back of the mountains without having to detach themselves from their trains. I'm going to run a train through here at some point again. By the way, we are actually on not the scenario. Well, yeah, the scenario. Instead of the base map. Because this is the one where it would not, I don't know. This is the one where it would screw up on loading and thus let me do it right. Which doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it, but that's just what works. So watching myself paint, it's almost as boring as painting in the first place. Actually, I think it's worse. But, you know, it's what must be done. Alright, so I'm here to provide witty commentary. I should talk about something witty other than just car talk. And, well, I mean, the map is the map. You guys ask for this, you know. If you recall, some videos ago, it was like episode 5 or 6 of the Zombie Train, after we moved it over from TRS 2006. I did ask what you guys would like in terms of a map, and then I took all those notes, and with those notes I built this. And the map is still very exaggerated and not quite right. But I'm liking how it's come out, and I'm liking how it did come out, in terms of the actual map and the way it looks. So I actually got to something entertaining right here, which was building around this corner, or coloring around this corner, because we had a lot of very interesting surfaces and things. I had a very intense temptation to go and fiddle with the mountains, basically, to make the textures for myself a little more interesting. But really, I didn't want to invest all that time into doing something like that when, again, the terrain is not my #1 priority. The train is, however. We do a little bit more of rockiness there just to make it make more sense in the way it looks. And then, of course, we continue using that stone color to fill in all these little areas. We keep going back and forth between the three, and I think they all go decently well together. And of course, that fourth, the grassy bit, goes really well. But only for certain areas. Just gonna patch up these holes here and be done with it. So we have the entire front face of the mountain there. I actually go along the spine a little bit later. Just because I'm not gonna do it with something else. Once again, adding another patch of the orange stuff. The Mars rock. For our own, to make things a little bit more interesting. And filling in those holes. And then we come down here, and that's when I go, I know what I need to put here. And grab the purple stuff. Grab the obsidian. And color in this wall. Carved out by the river. And on the other side, it's going to be your typical brown bank, because it won't have been stone it's carving into. It's trying to envision the layers of the mountain as they exist in this current situation. All of my geology knowledge is coming into play here, and by that I mean I don't know anything about what I'm doing. Then I go down and grab the underwater bits. Underwater fiddly bits. I can't wait to do the trees for whatever reason. Like, I want to do all the terrain first, or I want to do all the texturing first, and then do the scenery. Although I really don't want to do the scenery because I have the Marias Pass map installed, and I don't want to accidentally use something that's, well, there. And thus will be missing when we come back into the game. Frankly, the easiest thing might be to go to other parts of the map and figure out what I've already used, and just use those again. But flying back and forth is, well, annoying. By the way, if we do Temeros Orochiro, and that's what it looks like right now, I'll be able to do a little bit more in terms of what we do in operating sessions. Well, yeah, operating sessions, I guess. I'm going to use that mixed freight, or rather, I'm going to start a scenario that we're going to use, and I'm going to configure all the industries and stuff for making things sensible, I suppose. Because some things just don't make a lot of sense in the way they currently are right now. Like, they wouldn't truck a coal train all the way to Golgora when they could just drop it at Port Charles, so Golgora won't be accepting coal. They will be accepting wood chips, they'll be accepting logs. Again, it's a lot with the ports where I'm not quite sure what to do in a lot of cases. They won't be doing the cargoes, like the containers and stuff, because I don't really like dealing with the containers. But it's something that we should spend an episode adjusting industries, but we might do that after, presumably the Archero bit. I'm trying to think here, in terms of geography. Will we have a line running? Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll have 2-foot gauge running down from Sesquica to Archero. Again, we don't have really anything to do with the 2-foot gauge, because of a lot of the stuff doesn't work right, but if I could get this map imported to a different version where we could fix things, or if I knew how to fix things, that'd be lovely. Some things are just faulty. They're not designed for trains 06, they're designed for 04, and when I load them up, they don't work. Or they do worse than not work, they break things. This is me making sure that I did all this mountain already. Looking around, looking over there. Came out just fine. In air quotes. Then I come along the top here and go, let's paint this color. Because, why the hell not? But yeah, as I said, we can actually have a whole cycle going We don't have an official source of logs yet, but we could do an operating session basically where we take logs from the from Bear Harbor Lumber Company, or Grizzly Lumber rather, down through Sesquica to Tamaros, transfer it onto the standard gauge through one of those industries, take it to the pulp mill. Oh wait, no, you need wood chips from the whole... Wait. That's right. You need wood chips for the pulp mill. You'd have to take it through Motico first. Whatever. Well, that just ruined my day. You know, the only lumber mill there isn't connected at all to any standard gauge of any kind. It's in the middle of nowhere in Motico.